Many people misunderstand the IMF for one simple reason. They think it's about membership, and it's not. Every serious country on earth is an IMF member. The difference is who is borrowing and who is not. And right now, Ghana is preparing to stop borrowing. Not in the next decade, not someday, but by the end of 2026. And that changes a lot because the IMF does not control members, it controls borrowers. Loans come with conditions, budgets get ceilings, and policies get reviewed. That's how leverage appears. No loans, no leverage. That's the shift that's happening in Ghana. And it's being poorly explained, if it's being explained at all. The IMF supervises everyone, and it controls the borrowers. And remember, this channel exists for Africa First stories the Western media ignores or gets wrong. We don't chase the headlines, we chase the truth. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why Ghana's 2026 plan isn't symbolic, it's structural.
Good evening, fellow citizens. As we stand at the threshold of a new year, I come before you with a heart full of gratitude and renewed determination. Tonight, as families gather across our beloved nation, from the shores of Keta to the savannah plains of Bolgatanga, from the forests of the western region to the vibrant streets of Kumasi and Accra, I extend my warmest wishes to every Ghanaian, wherever you may be. A happy new year to all my fellow citizens. Exactly 6 days from now, we shall mark the first anniversary of the sacred oath I took before God and country. It was a solemn commitment to reset Ghana and build together the nation we all deserve. I can confirm that the promise of renewal we made was not mere rhetoric. It was a covenant, and we have begun to deliver on that covenant. 1 year ago, we inherited a nation in distress, an economy on its knees, unemployment crushing our youth, infrastructure crumbling, public trust eroded, and hope dimming in the eyes of our people. We're told that the recovery would take a generation, but I knew something our critics did not know. I knew the resilient spirit of the Ghanaian people. At the dawn of the new year, I stand before you to say our beloved nation Ghana is rising again. We've accomplished a lot together in the past 12 months through prudent management and difficult but necessary reforms. We've reduced inflation from the distressing levels above 23% by the end of 2024 and are hopeful to end 2025 with inflation at single digits of just above 5%. We have achieved relative currency stability and on track to be ranked among the best performing currencies in the world for 2025. We're accelerating economic growth and creating more opportunities for our young people. We've restored business confidence and have seen a significant increase in both domestic and foreign direct investment. We've restored Ghana's credibility with our international partners, successfully completed the renegotiation of our debt obligations on terms that protect our sovereignty while at the same time ensuring sustainability. We're beginning the process of exiting the IMF program with dignity, not as supplicants, but as partners. Our young people are Ghana's greatest assets. We're beginning to see significant growth in sectoral performance. Construction, manufacturing, agriculture, and services are showing very strong growth. This is creating a new opportunity for decent employment for our youth.
All right, so let's lock in on the facts. In 2023, Ghana entered an IMF-supported program after a convergence of shocks, right? Global interest rates were tightening, post-COVID debt pressure, collapsed Eurobond access, and a sharply depreciating cedi, right? So this was not ideology. It was arithmetic under pressure. So Accra negotiated a 3-year lending program with a defined end date of 2026. Not to stay, but to stabilize, restructure, and move forward without new IMF borrowing. So Western headlines said Ghana returned to the IMF like, the IMF is a bad neighborhood you wander back to by mistake. So the reality was Ghana checked in deliberately at the time with a checkout date on the calendar, right? So most audiences were told IMF exit means fireworks, victory speeches, a flag waving, press conferences titled, "We beat the IMF." But that story is incomplete, right? Ghana is not leaving the IMF, and it never said that it was. Every IMF member, including the US, China, and Germany, is supervised through routine consultations. And what Ghana is exiting is IMF lending, right? And that's the part that matters. So here's the rule nobody really explains clearly. Surveillance doesn't have as many teeth, but loans, when you borrow, policies come with conditions. Budgets face ceilings, reviews determine cash flows, and when you don't, advice becomes optional, reports become commentary, and leverage disappears, right? So graduating quietly scares systems that are built on dependency. And this builds directly into what we've covered in earlier Africa Power reports on African currencies holding steady pressure under global pressure, right? So we've talked about Ghana being one of the top 10 African currencies performing extremely well all of 2025 as we headed into currently 2026. And if Ghana completes this program and does not take new IMF loans, 3 things change, right? Conditional power ends. So post 2026, no loan linked spending ceilings, no quarterly disbursement reviews, no policy conditions tied to cash. So the IMF can advise, but Ghana will decide. And then market credibility reset. So markets don't reward speeches, they reward predictability. Finishing a program clearly signals institutional discipline, debt seriousness, policy continuity, and that lowers borrowing costs without borrowing, right? And then we have another realistic African model. So not fantasy, not theatrics, a model that says you can use the IMF temporarily and then move forward without it on its credit line, right? So Western analysts ask, can Ghana survive without IMF loans? And Ghana is asking, why borrow when stability costs less? So let's look at the reveal. Between now and the end of 2026, Ghana's task is deliberately borrowing, right? Complete debt restructuring, maintain fiscal discipline, keep inflation trending downward, resist election year spending spikes, right? Big part of IMF rules. So no drama, no shortcuts. And then after 2026, Ghana will still be an IMF member. There'll still be reports, still consultation, still surveillance like most countries on earth. But here's the shift. No loans, less leverage. And when you stop borrowing, supervision becomes observation, not control. So the headline won't be Ghana escapes the IMF here. It'll be Ghana didn't need IMF loans anymore, right? Very important. But what if Ghana needs the IMF again? Well, then the story isn't Ghana. It's a global system that keeps creating crises, right? So Ghana's IMF story isn't about rebellion. It's about maturity. It's about knowing when to borrow and when to stop, about proving sovereignty through discipline, not just declarations. So the IMF supervises everyone. It controls only borrowers, right? Let's get down to that. And the IMF is exiting potentially the borrowing process, right? And that's great news. So, mashallah, that's your African Insight for today. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because I'm Mr. EmpowerTV. We don't chase the headlines, we chase the truth behind them. This is Mr. Empower, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.